Reporting news by radio. The latest achievement of the versatile radiophone. Radio News, October 1920. We knew it. The radiophone has at last entered commercial life with a vim which promises many future conquests. In this case, the radiophone recently stepped into newspaperdom via the offices of the Los Angeles Examiner. In order to prove that the experiment is not a fallacy nor the product of journalistic imagination, two excellent photographs are reproduced on this page showing the two essential sides of the story. The lower illustration is none other than Mr. Ray T. Van Edish, city editor of the Los Angeles Examiner, making use of a portable radiophone set. He is instructing reporter Chandler Sprague, who is in the country, miles away from the newspaper offices. In the upper photograph, we see Mr. Sprague in the very act of receiving instructions from his chief at the home office. To the right is shown Lieutenant J.T. Morris, Army radio officer of Marshfield, California. As may be noted by scrutinizing the apparatus, the United States Signal Corps installed the system. Major B.K. Yount, commanding officer of the field, cooperated with the newspaper in order to demonstrate to the public the possibilities of radio telephony. A complete radiophone installation was first erected in the Examiner Building, Los Angeles, California, and an extension brought down to the editor's desk. After this, the reporter and the radio officer left by automobile to cover various happenings. The first stop was Exposition Park, where the set was tested out at short range after having taken 10 minutes to set it up. This particular set having a working range of 20 miles, the next stop was Long Beach, where a newspaper story was corralled and shortly thereafter the set was hastily installed in a vacant lot. 10 minutes later, the reporter was again in communication with his chief, and the story accordingly reported. A short time afterwards, the party set out for the amateur fishermen section of Santa Monica Bay, California. An interesting story was gleaned here owing to the fact that a fleet of professional fishing boats had come into the bay, and was seining for fish much to the dismay and indignation of those who were there for sport. Again, the installation was quickly set up, and headquarters was given the human interest fish story. No, curious reader, up to now we have not been informed as to who won priority fishing rights. The Examiner naively informs us that although the phone in this instance worked to perfection, the apparatus is a trifle cumbersome for use, except possibly in an emergency where the reporter expects to be miles away from a telephone. Incidentally, we are also informed that many experiments are being conducted whereby it is predicted that within a short time, the apparatus will be so simplified and condensed that a reporter can carry a portable radiophone set on any story, and use it to good advantage even in the heart of the city. We may thus conjure a newspaperman reporting a big fire, or a big flood, or a railroad wreck, or any other dire calamities by pressing a button in his pocket and talking through a small mouthpiece with his city editor downtown. These things are possible, but probably will not take place for many days to come. We must disappoint you. America is not the first to make use of the radiophone for reportorial work. The feat was recently accomplished by the London Daily Mail, and was reported as a complete success. In this case, the reporter toured the provinces of the big city in a motor car and phoned in his stories to the editor in the heart of London by means of radio telephony. In this event, a Marconi 6-step amplifier was used at the receiving end. Incidentally, the first radiophone message spoken at sea on board a vessel destined for publication in a daily newspaper was received in the London Daily Mail office several weeks ago. The vessel happened to be the British SS Victorian, aboard which were delegates on their way to the Imperial Conference in Canada. The event occurred while the steamer was a considerable distance off the north coast of Ireland. Sir Campbell Stewart, managing editor, dictated a message from the deck of the liner to a reporter stationed at the Poldhu radio station in Cornwall. Here is what the reporter had to say concerning the important happening. I spoke through an ordinary telephone transmitter just as if I were calling a correspondent in the next town using the regular landline telephone. I said, "Hello, Victorian," and it was like calling a spirit from the deep to hear him reply on the instant, "Hello, Poldhu." We were just getting to conversation when a dramatic intervention took place. The whole atmosphere was charged with shrill pipings spelling out in the Morse code the seafarers' dreaded SOS. On the moment, the government station at the Lizard sent out a command to all operators to cease talking in order that there should be no hindrance to the transmission of the distressed vessel's message. Then, just as a moment before there had been nothing but shrill pipings from all quarters, there came a dead silence, through which there rose loud and clear the call of the distressed ship. She said she was the American vessel Coquet, and was in trouble off the Bishop Rock, Scilly Islands, and requiring immediate assistance. The Lizard took the matter in hand in a motherly fashion, arranged for the needed aid to be sent, and, this settled, the wireless world started talking again as if nothing unusual had occurred. These important events bring home to us the realization of the great importance of radiotelephony. While these two experiments were conducted more as test cases than with the intention of continuing them permanently, there is no doubt that within a short time, not only newspapers, but hospitals' ambulance service, police and fire departments, train and ship service, and countless other important organizations will recognize the value of the radiophone and make use of it practically and permanently. To this end, let us all work together, we who are in the radio field, towards the simplification of present systems. This will be a step in the right direction, as prospective users of the radiophone cannot be expected to spend months in learning the systems which are rather complicated when compared with the familiar and ever-ready land wire telephony.